Welcome back to another BRUNCH, your Sunday rendezvous with hockey coach, your coach Francis directly for the beautiful country of Thailand. And we have to go all the way to the Ottawa to find our co-host, Mr. Marko Larabie. Welcome back in the show today.
Hey, happy Sunday, Coach. How's it going this morning?
Pretty good, very good. It's a Sunday, November 27, in 2022. This is episode number 12 already, Mr. Marko. Unbelievable how this work so fast, the time and the flying, everything like that. So we're already at the first quarter of the season for the Montreal Canadiens. That's the reason we're going to talk about the report card. Time to go to school. I gave some rate of all the students we have. We have 25 plus going to race today during the show. And of course, we have a special guest. Nick Larivie is going to join us a bit later. And we're going to talk about the review week number 7 and preview week number 8. And we're going to hit, Mr. Marko, the month of December when Montreal Canadiens play 15 games, 4 at home only, 11 away. We definitely have a couple of conversations about this. Anything you want to add before we drive all the way to the show?
No, very excited for today. Report card day. I was always nervous for report card day. Find ways to make little forgeries so I didn't have to show my parents and stuff like that. But no forgeries today, Coach. The players are going to get an honest grade from us, and look forward to see what everybody thinks. So, guys, Don't forget, hit like, subscribe. We'd love to hear your comments as we go through all the report cards. Leave your comments and grades below. It should be an interesting discussion. This will be a lot of fun, Coach, and just ramping up and excited for the World Cup today. Canada versus Croatia. Canada started doing a little bit of trash talk to the Croatian team, so I think we might get a bit of a crusty Croatian team ready to confront Canada. So we'll see if the strategy pays off to, Coach, you were a coach, right? Like, how they say that there's bulletin board material, like you never give, extra motivation to your opponent. We might have done that Canada with Croatia today. So is that a real thing? Like, did you ever use that kind of tactic when you were coaching?
Yeah, honestly, for me, it's all about the mindset. So you want to prepare your best team, you have to talk about mindset, confidence, trust, and then to explain to your players how you can become better. If you add 1% better who you are today, all together will become, 11% more if you have 11 players on the field right away. So we expect a good performance for Canada. It would be great for the country of Canada to win today at their first W at the World Cup.
Yeah. Coach, you should have given me that pep talk before the show, but I feel like it's good. Like it's a good pep talk for sure. I'll give an extra 1% today.
I expect that from you every single show.
Okay. All right. Okay. Good to know.
Let's go talking about the first warm-up of the show, Mr. Marko.
Let's warm up, Coach.
He is back with us for another time, directly from Montreal, Mr. Nick Larivie. Welcome back in the house today on the special BRUNCH, your Sunday rendezvous.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Marko, we're looking for report cards. We have a teacher already in the house, so he writes a lot of contents about Montreal Canadiens. He's going to be great to add some report card for each player we have on the roster from Montreal for this first quarter already. It's fly, guys. 21 game already for Montreal Canadiens. So will be interesting to talk about them. First of all, like we do at the beginning of the show, guys, we always look for the review of the week. And Montreal Canadiens play 3 game weeks this week. Week number 7 already for them. And then they have a record of 2-1-0. I did not get it. I think I did 2-0-1 last week, Marko. I don't know what was your prediction.
I did I call it a reverse jinx. I said that we were going to be 0-3.
Okay.
But I didn't really think that. But, that was my prediction.
All right, no problem. I will go to talk about the 3 game. You're going to give us some comments for the week of Montreal Canadiens. First of all, Montreal lost by the score 7-2. Again, the Buffalo Sabres, they stopped their streak of 8 losses at the Bell Center. Then it was all the night about Jeff Skinner and Tate Thompson. The following night, they play at Columbus Blue Jackets after they lost last week 6-4 The Cannon was more quiet over there. Montreal beat them by the score 3-1, an empty net for Sean Monahan, and Coffey's score is 12. I think it was not this one. I think it was Nick Zuski. And then finally, Chicago score one shootout. What a great end of the game with Kirby Doc score again. Doc score again is X team and a shootout to get the W for the Montreal Canadiens. So you guys, you go talk about the 3 game. What maybe pay more your attention during the 3 game. And let's start it with Marko.
This is an interesting week, Coach. I think we've all been discussing so far this season how it's the surprising kind of results so far are kind of a mirage a little bit. We were kind of like top 10 in save percentage. Some really elite and perhaps unsustainable finishing from the top line, all combining to maybe give us a record that maybe didn't accurately portray how well they were actually playing. And I think that all came to a head in Buffalo, right? Like Buffalo was kind of, the game where that mirage kind of disappeared. It's happened a couple times during the season, but Buffalo by far was the worst, outing for sure so far this year. All over the ice, right? I believe it was that game where I think the Suzuki line only got a shot in the last couple minutes of the period. Caulfield just snuck in a shot. So, but then, coming out of that game, you could arguably say, again, these games, even though they were fun, especially the shootout game was exciting, it was probably the tighter games that Montreal's played in terms of overall team play, which is kind of what we're looking for, right? Like we want to have the exciting flashes that we're seeing from the first line, but we just want to. I wanted to see, can this team play a fundamentally stronger game? Because, like we talked about, this is a year of development, and yes, that means individual development, but it also means in terms of the team concept, right? So, I'm liking what I see in terms of team concept. Again, there's still a couple breakaways. I think we allowed 2 or 3 breakaways in Columbus. So still some breakdowns, but definitely a lot tighter in terms of, defensive zone coverage, not spending as much time in our zone. And interesting to see kind of the impact that Jack-Eye had when he was out of the lineup. And I guess an interesting question is, has he solidified himself as locked in? Is he going to continue to be part of that rotation? That's an interesting question. Interesting week. A little bit of a different week because I've seen progression in a different way, not just in individual play and results, but I'm liking what I see in terms of the team concept so far this week.
Nick?
Yeah, so one thing that's actually kind of interesting is that although the game in Buffalo went it was horrible, the first line still scored. Caulfield got a goal in that game. You got to look at it that way, and they're still on this streak where no matter what, they're contributing. The game against Columbus, the only point they got, I think was it a Savard goal? I think it was a Savard goal. Caulfield and Doc assisted on a Savard goal. But that's something that's still very interesting. And I want to make a point on the 7-2 game and how it changed things. It did help them to tighten up. I think that it was a wake-up call, realizing that they need to play more defense a little bit, focus on the defensive game if they want to win games. And they did a very good job, especially against Chicago, I found. Yeah, Montembeault also had to play out of his mind at times. And I'm really, really impressed with Montembeault. I'm not even sure if we should go forward with Allen as the starter. I think Montembeault has won the net this week, and I would put him in on Tuesday against the Sharks as well.
It's an interesting question. Yeah.
That's something we talked a little bit more about the goaltending situation or other thing. I think one thing you said I like, Nick, is about the fact they learned something for Buffalo and the reaction of Martin St. Louis. We said he's learning on the everything, but they already make some readjustment. Not the fact Jakai came back in the game again in Kovacevic, but the fact they changed the pairing. They split Savard and Coley, and I think they help everybody. I think Edmondson have a better game at the end of the week compared in the past, and that helped a little bit more Savard play with Madison. So I think it was a good shift for switch by Martin St. Louis for the last two games.
I disagree with that on Savard and Matheson, well, especially against Columbus. I thought they were the worst pairing. I thought Savard playing with Matheson actually made Savard play worse than when he was with Cooley. Like, that was one pairing that I felt was decently solid the whole time. And I felt that, I don't know, like, it just wasn't working with Matheson at times.
I think
but at the end of the day, they got 2W.
Against Chicago. Well, they worked better against Chicago, but against Columbus, it just didn't look good.
Yeah, but because that's the first time they played together, so that's just normal. My point is that Martin St. Louis did not hesitate to change his pairing and to try to find a solution because they gave 7 goals. And Coley, Savard struggled. Coley's already at -6, and Savard did not do play well whatsoever score goals. Savard struggled for the last 7, 5, 6 games put out together. It was just the point for me. Martin St. Louis make a good change and find a way to maybe shaky a little bit his defense. And like you said earlier, they play better on the defensive zone coverage by giving only 3 goals. If you think about this, prior to that, they gave over 19 goals in the last 4 games. Again, the lower team in NHL bottom the standing. So, by the way, my Rock just scored a goal. I just want to let you know.
And one thing to add, guys, like one thing that St. Louis is probably thinking is, like, I think we're all impressed with how Gouli's done so far, but I don't think that they would mind scaling his minutes back a little bit. Maybe as a number 3 instead of like being in the top pair. So moving Matheson with Savard gives him the ability to roll those guys out for 23, 24 minutes and maybe shielding Gouli a little bit more because, it is his rookie season. And, this is the first time being in the NHL. It's not just the amount of minutes that you're playing, but the travel, the amount of games that you're playing. Like it's not impossible that Gouli, compared to other rookies, usually at some point you hit the wall in a season, right? So it's not a bad move you want Gouli to continue to have confidence, and to do that, you just scale his minutes back just a little bit. I think it's a good move in the long run.
Like, it's like for Gouli, I will admit though, like it has gone down since like the first 10 games. Like he was a lot better. And I guess it's kind of normal for a rookie to be in that situation.
Sure.
So it makes sense like that they do that. Scale it back. Now that Matheson's back, Edmondson is in. Yeah, playing him with Edmondson might actually do good too, because Edmondson is a good veteran. Like he's a good leader. So, well,
it's all about experimentation. It's all about experimentation, trying different things. So, it's good.
Jack Kovacevic is a good pairing for a third pairing.
Yep. By the fact you talk about Coley, guys, they try Edmondson, does not work on the right side. They try Edmondson, does not work on the right side, and they have to go back to Caden Coley. Just give you an idea how Coley is so much good for the Montreal Canadiens, and he will become one of the top best defensemen for them because he was the only one who works very well for the last 2 games on the right side on the Montreal. Not say it's going to be, you have no difficulties compared to Edmondson and Madison on that side. So it'll be interesting how they're going to turn around, guys. With this 3 game this week, they have now 11-9-1. Differential of -6, -8, unfortunately. 6 in the division, 17 in the standing. And it'll be interesting how they're going to go for the next month again in December. But we want to talk about we do every week, guys, the stood out of the week. Maybe one specific thing, players, team, special, whatever it is. One of you going to both of you going to give us one, pay a little bit more your attention for the week.
I'd say for me, I think I chose Doc the last 2 weeks, so still an impressive week from Doc. But I think this week my standout is Monahan. So Monahan, especially in the last game against Chicago, along with Montembeault, I think were probably the top players for the team. And Just a kudos to him on how consistent he's been. Almost like on a 55-point pace, if I'm not mistaken, right now. So again, just doing all the little things right. Really sneaky good on the power play, playing that goal line role. And just that Edmondson goal, like that sneaky little saucer pass as Edmondson was going down, just does so many little things right. His face-off percentage is often is like that's, I think he was at 69% against Chicago. So to me, that's really good news. I know we might touch this a bit later. There's a pretty awesome debate going on on HABS Twitter about, do you sign and extend Monahan or do you trade him, and when do you trade him? Like, I think it's an interesting discussion, and it can be pretty passionate on both sides of that argument, but maybe we'll have time to debate that a bit more. But for me, Sean Monahan is the guy that stood out for me this week.
Awesome. What about you, Nick, for the week?
Well, the one that stood out, I mentioned him before, and Marco just said his name as well, Montembeault. I did not, like, last year you would never have expected him to turn around his game this year the way he has. He had, who was it against? No, it wasn't against Vegas. He had one rough game this year, but like all the other games he's been playing, it was against Columbus, the 5-2 loss the first time around.
Yeah.
But besides that, like, he's been like phenomenal, and like he continued to stand out this week, and he won the net for Friday's game with his performance against Columbus. It makes sense, especially because Allen has been struggling a lot lately. I find he hasn't been on top of his game.
Yeah,
and we needed a goalie to step up. So as you mentioned earlier, you were talking about how the incredible goaltending, it's gone down a little bit. In reality, it's only Allen that's gone down. It's not Montembeault. So when you look at it, you still have that on. And I'm still impressed with how the first line can just continue producing no matter what, every game. Even if they're struggling, they always produce no matter what. Like, so it's like a 3-person standout in a way. I don't even differentiate them. I can't just say Suzuki. I can't just say Doc. I can't just say Caulfield anymore. I have to put them all together because that's what they do.
Yeah,
and
great comment. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, great comment, both of you guys. I agree with you. Monahan was one of my pick. Samuel Montembeault was my pick. And then you talk about the first line. I would say that maybe not have an amazing great weeks, but it's still consistent scoring. It was Caulfield, Suzuki. They are both 12 goals. So you touch on the nail for both, for all the players you mentioned today. But today we are really about the report card, guys. Is this the first quarter? And we want to, we got the report card from Enartap and Marco and myself. And then Nick is going to join us. He's going to give us his report card for each player. So what I did today, guys, I make some kind of the stat for each player and with a report card for each player from the name I just mentioned to you. They have a little red block there. Still hiding a report card at the beginning of the players when I mention who they are. And then Nick is going to give us his report card. And do you want Marco to open up a report card before Nick gave us, and then he can judge which one he's going?
I think it's up to you, Nick. Like, do you want to see our grades and then comment on them, or do you want to do yours first and then see if they match up with ours?
I could just do mine and see if it matches up. I mean,
yeah, okay, sounds good. So, Coach, let Nick go first then.
I'm sorry again.
Yeah.
So Nick will go first.
Yeah, sounds good. So the first one we have Chris Whiteman, 12 game, 0 goal, 4 assists, 4 points, plus 1. I know is he played only the half of the game, honestly. 60% of the game for the first quarter, but we can give him a little bit a note. And Nick, what it would be your, and by the way, it's between A to D, and you can add a minus or a plus for the letters if you want to.
Okay, so for Chris Weidman, I think I'm gonna go a D+. He hasn't done much. Like he's definitely not been even as good as last year, where he was kind of a bit more of a power play quarterback a little bit. Even though the team wasn't doing great, he was still being able to produce a little bit as a 6th, 7th defenseman. He's got kind of the same role, but like he was pushed off the first power play. He is making a little bit more mistakes, I find. But at the same time, he's a good veteran to have at times. But like this year, it just hasn't been his great year. So I'm just gonna give him a D plus. It's not the worst. He hasn't been the worst out there, but he's far from the best.
Sound good to me. By the way, I want to apologize. Maroc didn't score. I have an offside. So I just,
All
I
right.
just want to let you know about that one there. It takes a little bit long time to let you know the report.
Sorry for all the Morocco fans in the chat, if there are any.
All the three coach about all the three report D. Coach Marko in our tap. I will go with Marko. Why a D for him, or any reason more? What Nick explained very well about him.
Yeah, like I think Nick covered most of it. Like to me, it's simple, right? Like if there was a grade for locker room impact, he'd probably be like an A, right? Like he's a great guy. The team seems to love him, but in terms of his impact on the ice, there's really only one role for Weidman, and it's to be on the power play. And what did we go at the beginning of the season, like 0-24 when he was on the first unit, and they had to move away from it, right? So if Chris Weidman is not helping you on the power play, he's not helping you on the ice at all. So to me, his value to the team has decreased tremendously compared to last year. So that's why, like, if you're not delivering, if you have many tools and many different things you can deliver to the team, you have a better chance to have an impact. But with Weidman, he's a pretty much like a one-trick pony, and he's not delivering on that one trick that he has. So to me, it's got to be the lowest grade for Weidman.
Awesome. Perfect, Marko. Let's move on now for next player, guys. So we're going to go with Mike Madison. Mike played only 4 games on the stage, just come back from an injury. He have already 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 point -2. But maybe you have a ranking for him for what you saw so far, Nick, about Madison.
He's been showing that he can move the puck very well. I really like that, and that's why he's been the defenseman now that's on the first unit, because he's actually the only defenseman I would say that can move the puck like consistently great like that. And honestly, I'm gonna give him a B, like very average. Like he's been good. He hasn't been too bad. Like I mentioned earlier, like him and Savard maybe struggled that one game, but it's not like he's had huge struggles. He's been out there and he's been doing his thing, and I've liked his game so far. But there's always more room for improvement. And it's only been 4 games, so it's hard to really judge him. But I'm gonna give him a B based on what I've seen.
He's still on the training camp, by the way.
Yeah,
just give you an idea. Here we go. We have here B-, B-, a B-, all 3. So we are pretty much on the same level. Marko, result of your ranking for Mike Madison.
Yeah, it's very small sample size, like like Nick said, but I think his skating, right, is just so explosive, and I think out of any other D in our core right now, he's the only guy that can kind of skate the puck out of trouble. And with the amount of times that we get kind of stuck, cycling in our zone and having extended minutes, having somebody like that can still make a good outlet pass, but can actually skate it out of trouble, like be deceptive and skate it out, is a very unique quality. Gouli has that, but he just doesn't have the poise yet. He will for sure, but he's getting there. But so yeah, he just brings a unique thing. I think his plus minus is a bit deceiving. Like I think he was -2 in the first 30 seconds of his season, in that first minute, unfortunately. And just one of those goals was Allen kind of miscommunication. And so, I think it's a short sample, and it's maybe a bit misleading, his minus. So, look at that tying goal against, that against Philadelphia, right? Like he was the one 6-on-5, like, so on the power play. So he's somebody that can take that pressure and be a quarterback out there. So very positive. Let's see if he can continue on this trajectory so far.
Awesome. Let's move on to the next players. We're going to talk about Brendan Gallagher, guys, the assistant captain of the Nick-Suzuki and the Montreal Canadiens. 21 game, 3 goals, 5 assists, 8 points, -3. Analytically, Dada is pretty good on the X goal for, but obviously cannot capitalize. So finishing those kind of the opportunity he has. So what would be your ranking about the veteran of 10 years with the Montreal, Brendan Gallagher? Nick.
B-. It's one of the easiest grades you can give. B-. He's been good at times. He's coming back slowly. In the beginning of the year, I think he was even a little bit better than he is now. He's slowed down a bit, the production wise, but he brings energy again, and that's great. Unfortunately, he may not have the finish he used to have, and that can happen with age. But he's a little bit back now, and that's something that has also probably helped the Habs. But I'm going to give him a B- for now. But I've really liked his energy so far this season.
Awesome comments about Gali. What about you, Marco? Because I'm going to reveal the C plus C and B. So Nick is between both of you, Marco and Artap. And a little bit tell us a bit more, Marco, why C for him.
I feel bad. I think Karin's going to be mad at me because we all know how she feels about Gallagher.
Karin was here. I would give him A. I would not take a.
Yeah.
I would
that's
be
probably
scared.
True. I knew she wouldn't be here, so I wouldn't have to get that stare from her. But yeah, I feel bad being the harshest one on him because I think, Nick, you're right. Like his skating and his energy level definitely improved. Like you can see overall, he's just healthier, and he's still Gallagher. Like he's still doing all the things that we that makes him who he is. Like dragging the team into the fight. So listen, like all those positive things that he does, I think makes up for the lack of production. But you just, again, like with the salary that he carries, I know it's hard to focus on that. Like his first year of this new deal, and unfortunately, we just need more production from him. But the big thing that I like compared to other years, and maybe this says a lot about the culture that St. Louis put in, is that when Gallagher doesn't produce, you can see that he's always, in the past anyways, was always very openly frustrated, right? And even though he hasn't been putting them in, like you'll still see him shaking his head, but no slamming of doors, breaking of sticks, rolling of eyes. His overall attitude in this situation is way better as well, right? So I'm happy with his beginning of the season, but I have to give him a C just because of the salary and the actual production, the finishing.
Yeah, a great point. I was going to say, the only negative about Gallagher for me is really the salary he go with the player. But if you remove that salary, you don't talk about the money. Nick, he nailed it. I think he's really the bounce back player for the Montreal Canadiens. And secondly, I'm telling you right now, he could score. He could at least make maybe 6-7 goals if he was take all the chance he got. He have at least 5 breakaway, maybe 4, 5, 2 versus 1. He's the only player dominate on about the opportunities for the Montreal Canadiens. So this guy, just the puck cannot come in, unfortunately for him. But great for you guys. We're almost at the same page about Gallagher. Let's move on now for the captain, Nick Suzuki. We go by number. That's the reason you have nothing again who they are back to back. It's just I go with the selection and ranking for the number. So Nick Suzuki, guys, 21 game, 12, 24 points. He's on the pace right now to play to score 1 point per game average. He has +3 since the beginning of the season. I think he's the motor of the catalyzer of the Montreal Canadiens. But Nick, what would be your ranking for him?
Is A+ too high? Because like I don't want to rate anyone above him. If I could do A+, but at the same time, his defense has been sometimes has been a little shaky. He hasn't been the greatest defensively. Sometimes he's a little late on back checks. So I'm going to bump that down to an A, but he has been the best player this season. There's no question about that. He is the team's best player. This is his team. He's the right guy for the captain. I love how he handles the pressure. He is not the 9th worst contract in hockey. This guy is going.
Good reference.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is not the 9th worst. Yeah, he's been the best player. I cannot rank anyone above him. So with this, it's an A, and I'm not doing any A+ because this has to be the highest grade.
You nailed it. A minus. I'm sure Nathan we talk exactly like you just said about his defensive zone coverage. But for me, go ahead, Marco. I was going to explain, but go
No,
ahead.
I think Nick nailed it. Like I think we're all aligned on this. Like the only reason he's not an A plus is because of some of those back check
Yeah.
issues, right? And but other than that, like you know, have we ever had? When was the last time we had a player in like top 15 or top 20 scoring in the NHL, right? And
Kovalev.
again, how he's evolved his game too, right? Like becoming a dual threat, being able to actually score goals. That's probably the thing that surprises me so far is that he's tied with Caulfield in goals is a nice twist, right? So yeah, I think Nick, you nailed it. I'm 100% aligned with your analysis for sure.
And the key is to see if he can consist because his shooting percentage one of the top 10 in NHL, and it's really really rare to see that. It's funny because we talk always about a slap shot one timer, Stanko Ovechkin. You know he's going to do a wrist shot, but he find a way to put the puck in the net. So it's really impressive for what he
Afraid of
accomplished
Caulfield
so
on
far.
the they're afraid of Caulfield on that other side, right? Like they're
Yeah,
always thinking about it. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely
And
about this.
it's funny 'cause Nick Suzuki has like his one power play thing. One thing he does on the power play, it always goes in somehow. It's he never changes it. He
Yeah,
doesn't have to change it. It's because it's so effective.
He's like Jaws, right? Like he skates like into the neutral zone on the power play and and then he goes into like he just slowly goes in and then they find him like right at that face off dot. Boom.
One of my favorite things was last year actually when he like there was an offside goal like and it
Yeah,
got
yeah, yeah.
disallowed. He comes right in like 10 seconds
The
later, does
same
the same
exact
thing.
goal. Yeah, that's hilarious.
Same
That
goal
was awesome.
twice. Like
yeah, absolutely. Josh Anderson, guys, 19 goal, 19 goal, 19 game, 5 goal, 2 assists, 7 point, -2 for Josh Anderson. What do you think about him, Nick?
C plus. There's a lot of inconsistency. I think he's sometimes he could be one of the best players on the ice, or he's invisible. There's no in between with him. So C plus for that. But like I do love that he's still on this 20 goal pace. Like he's gonna score 20 goals. But again, for the salary too, that's another thing. And that contract might bite the Habs in the future. They may have to trade him sooner or later. But he is a power forward. But with Slavkovsky coming in, I think he will be more expandable now. So it kind of helps for the future of the team. So that with that being said, it's a C plus
Good.
due to his
Uh,
inconsistency.
C minus, C plus. So you nail it again, Nick. Marco, C minus.
Yeah, for the same reasons that Nick is saying, like just consistency. Although I will say that there are some games where fans will say, "Oh, you didn't see Anderson tonight," but he still did some physical things. Again, my issue with Anderson, and it sounds like St. Louis and Hughes are well aware of it and have tried to work with him on it. Is this guy, if he was a computer program, he has two subroutines to his program. One is he'll skate, he'll try to kind of like cut in from the outside and then shoot, or he'll skate on the outside, go around the net, go into the slot and shoot. Those are the only subroutine that he has in his programming. So it's too bad that we can't reprogram his brain a little bit. Try to be a little bit more creative. Like it just kills me. There's so many times because he's so fast. He opens up so much space when he's skating, and you can see there's other players that are wide open, but he just does not see them, and it just
He's
drives me nuts.
he
Drives me
lacks
nuts.
the hockey IQ.
Yeah,
Plus, I think he may actually be the worst passer on the team.
yeah. So for those reasons, again, if he needs to be very consistent of what he does, because remember I was saying how Weidman, right? Like Weidman has one tool, which is QB on the power play. So Anderson really has two tools, and if he's not really kind of doing them consistently throughout the game, then his value. And Martin St. Louis talks about that a lot. Like you hear him say, "Well, we're trying to help him build up his value." And it's not in the
Yeah,
market, but he means within the team. And
yeah.
that's so Josh Anderson brings value with those two things: physical, speed, and shooting. And when he's
I
not
feel
doing
like
those,
I
go
feel
ahead.
like I graded him a little too high. C plus seems a little high. All of a sudden, when we have the same thing, and you're putting him at a C minus, and I have him at a C plus, I feel like I'm just being a little too generous. Maybe bump him down to a
He might be
C in this
watching.
case
He
because
might be watching, Nick. So we love you, Josh. Sorry.
yeah, sorry, Josh, but like we know what you are, and I apologize.
You're a good-looking guy too, I'm sure.
The only thing I
Yeah,
would say to you where it's like he played with the first line did not work. He played a second line does not work. He played now with third line, he does not produce more. So he does not increasing his. You have some player make the other player better on the line, and he defensive zone coverage one of the worst for the Montreal Canadiens. For me, it's more about his inconsistency about energy. Like the guy, he can destroy everybody during the game if he want to. He just did not show up many game on the 19 the game he played. He barely maybe 6-7 game really he was all in and hit everybody. And I think for me that's my biggest problem I have with Josh Anderson since the beginning of the
And
season.
it's so in fairness though, it's pretty much impossible to play 82 games like that, right? So that's why it's up to him in the games that you just don't have the legs or you don't have that meanness inside you, then you have to find different ways to help the team. And if that means like for a guy like this, like Saint Louis has struggled to find people for the PK. Right now he's using his like 4 centers to play PK, right? So why isn't a winger? We would need a winger in this position, your third line winger, to be killing penalties. But again, he just doesn't have the hockey IQ for it, right? So he needs to
yeah.
kind of like bring more value and more tools.
Yeah, absolutely about this. A great point. Our friend Juraj Slakowski, 16 games so far, 3 goals, 2 assists, 5 point -2. Nick, your comments about him?
I'll give him a B. Like he's been good. He's been solid. To a certain point, he's just not getting the ice time. Of course, he's not lighting the world on fire just yet. He's young and he's growing into it. I am worried about what happened on Friday though. By the way, I don't know if
Yeah.
he has a concussion. We have no news on that. I am worried about that, but like I've liked his game. He clearly has a shot, and that's what he needs to use more. He's got good vision. There's really not much to like dislike about his game. Like overall, like he just needs to improve on a little bit of everything. He's got an NHL shot. I'm gonna give him a B.
All right.
Look
We got
forward to
C minus, C minus, C minus.
wow.
Yeah.
Marco?
So quick update on that, Nick. Like I did see on social media that they did have the rookie dinner after the game. So he was at the rookie dinner. So hopefully that means that he's not feeling too bad after that hit. But I do agree. Like that's several times this year where he's gotten clipped pretty good. So something that I hope that they're working with him to to be a little bit more careful out there and be aware. But this is tough, right? Like I gave him C minus, but it's okay. It's okay. I'm not freaking out that it's a C minus. I think it's fine. Like there's 2 things. I watched Slafkovsky a lot. I was in the draft Slafkovsky camp, leading up to the draft. I watched a lot of his games last year. And the thing is that I'm not seeing his strengths come out at the NHL game yet, which is like the probably his highlights of the season are the nice goals that he scored. But he's not. I never thought he was going to be primarily a goal scorer. We saw in the training camp like he had those great kind of like passes that he did to open teammates and driving to the outside, winning battles along the boards and making nice little give and go plays. To me, that's what I just haven't seen the Slafkovsky that I thought we were going to see, which
Yeah.
is again really he's starting to improve his board battles a little bit, which is great. But you see, there's a lot of hesitation there in terms of doing those give and goes. So listen, like still good, like you're still seeing progress. But it's not that he's not, because consistency is always going to be an issue with an 18-year-old. So it's not the consistency that I'm worried about. It's just that the core skills that I thought I was going to see from him, I haven't seen them emerge yet. So that's either good news or bad news. It means that when he does bring those things, then we're going to see a whole new Slafkovsky and one that brings a lot more value. Or the bad news is that he's not
It
able to
doesn't.
do those things at this level, and that would be a little more worrisome if that continues over the longer term.
But like for now, that's why I'm going to give him a B, because I want to see that stuff. But as for the give and goes, you can't really do that when you're playing with Pizzetta. Like Jesus, like it sucks. Pizzetta is not the player, and yeah, Evans. He's not the greatest offensively either. He's stuck with Evans, and
Yeah,
I guess
I
the
get it.
chemistry with Gallagher and Dvorak hasn't worked. What I would love to see is him play with Monahan and
Yeah,
Anderson. I want to see
yeah,
that. That's
yeah.
actually where I
But
want him right now. I
but
think
Nick,
Armia would be perfect on that fourth line.
But Nick, so listen, I agree. I'd love to see him play with better players, but I don't think it's been the case where he's made a good play and Pizzetta or Evans haven't been able to complete like. So I'm not seeing enough of him generating chances off the boards, and then say Pizzetta and Evans screwing it up. That's not what I'm seeing. I'm seeing him not really creating as many of those as I thought he was going to. Is what I'm saying. But I agree, it doesn't help that
I, f-
it's a confidence thing too, right?
I also feel like since his suspension, he's also been a little more
Yeah.
hesitant to do things too, and that's another thing. But I'm gonna give him a, like I said, I'm giving him a B now.
Yeah.
If this continues, his grade may drop, but right now it's a B, and you got to grade everything because I was really impressed with the middle point of the needs.
Sound good? Next plug is another rookie. Talk about Kaden Cooley. 21 game, 1 goal, 7 assists, 8 points. I think we never talk about his offensive side, like 8 points he dominate for all the defensemen. -6 for him, and yeah, maybe a reason why. But what would be your ranking about him?
I thought he was. I think that overall he's the most solid of the defensemen, like most NHL ready of the young defensemen. It's just, yeah, like he's had his struggles and he's playing big minutes, but he shut down Sidney Crosby. You got to give him with this. You got to give him a B plus. Like when you shut down Sidney Crosby, you shut down Austin Matthews. That can't go unnoticed. Like he shut these guys down. Like when it came time to step up, he stepped up this season. There's a little bit inconsistency, again, a rookie, but it's coming, and when he does come, he's gonna be a top 2 defenseman. He'll be a top pairing defenseman eating 25 minutes a night. Right now, maybe scaling back down to like 20 minutes a night might be good, or 18 to 20. But yeah, he's very solid, and I'm gonna give him a B plus
So
because
good.
I've liked a little bit of everything his game.
You need it, my friend. B plus, B plus, B for an tap. Marco.
Ooh, Enertap a little bit more strict than us, but that's okay. I can be critical of Enertap's grades because he's not here, so I'll take advantage of that. No, Nick, I agree. You have to, just looking at the numbers, you have to take into consideration like the opposition that he's played, with Savard, just playing out of his probably the chair that he should be in at this stage in his career. But listen, like if there's one thing, if you ask and listen to people across the league about kind of the biggest surprise or the biggest story so far out of Montreal this season is Goulet. All the teams are talking about this guy. So he is definitely making an impact, making a name for himself as a future, top pairing defenseman in the league. It's to me, it's eerie the similarities to Weber. Like if you take away the shot thing, like that unique element that Weber brought, it is really
Yeah.
almost like a clone, right? It's crazy. It
He
would be
moves
awesome
better,
if
so
he was
he has the
right-handed.
better skating. So that he makes
Yeah,
up with it, the better skating. That's actually
yeah,
what he makes up for with what he
yeah,
lacks with the crazy shot.
yeah. I agree. So it's too bad he's not right-handed. I would give if he was right-handed, I'd give him an A plus. But no, really, really nice start for Goulet, and man, let's give kudos to the Bergevin and to Timmins on that one. I think there was a couple of fans that were a little pissed off that he didn't get Hendrix Lapierre. I think it was that everybody was buzzing about in that draft. So good for Timmins to to stick to his guns and pick Goulet. So great start. and really excited to see. I hope they do reduce his minutes just a little bit so that he maintains that confidence.
Awesome. Next player, Cole Caulfield. 21 goal, 21 game, 12 goal, 9 assists, 21 point. Is plus minus 0 at this moment. What your expectation or what you think about Cole Caulfield? My friend Nick.
I want to mention something that is also 0. He still has 0 penalty minutes. No one, I looked it up yesterday because I was interested. I wanted to know, is there anyone above him in like points or goals that also have 0 penalty minutes? The only one that comes close to him, and it's kind of funny, it's Jack Hughes. Jack Hughes has 4 penalty minutes. And like it was like the only one that was coming close to him. So it's like, his childhood friend. But yeah, I'm gonna give him an A-. His goal scoring is great. He's showing he can pass the puck a little bit, but his defense, he is not good defensively. He is not a good defender. I find that he lacks probably the defense on that line, and it was kind of known. But I'm gonna give him an A-, also because I said I would not give anyone above Suzuki. So I'm giving him an A- because of that.
Yeah.
Here we go, Marco. You're the only one with A- versus A and A for me.
I think I went with the same principle as Nick, which is, and hopefully, by the way, if the Habs and if Cole is watching, hopefully they apply this principle to his salary negotiation. But I think nobody should get paid more than Nick, and nobody is graded higher than Nick in this report card because he's been our best player. So really nice start. So, but I have him underneath Nick as the highest graded player so far in the first quarter. I would kind of like add a little context to what Nick is saying about him not being a good defensive player. To me, the most impressive, and if he was really that bad, I probably would have given him a B+. But the reason I can get up to an A- with Caulfield is I have seen a lot of improvements in other elements of his game. Specifically, not really in the defensive side. Like, he is a little bit better as a winger. You have to be able to chip out those pucks when Ds are pinching in and stuff like that. He's gotten a little bit better at that. Which is pretty amazing for a guy's size. But his forechecking is actually really improved this year. Like, that upper body strength that he added in the offseason, I think is really paying off. So to me, like, the most encouraging thing is his overall game developing. Again, a lot like Suzuki, still some deficits and some kind of like some gaps that happen when they're on the back check and identifying people when they're back checking. But those are things that you can teach. But my biggest concern with Caulfield all along is he going to be able to win any of those 50-50 puck battles with his size? And sometimes the puck could potentially just die on his stick, right? So to me, that's been the most impressive thing, is that he's actually able to turn over the puck on some occasions with his cross-checking and actually kind of maintain puck possession in some occasions by using a good stick and using his body positioning to his advantage.
Yeah, his board battling has actually impressed me just because of his size. He hit Tyler Myers one night. Like what the heck? Like, you would have never expected him to be the one to hit and get the puck so that Suzuki can get the puck over to Doc. Like, that was never. You would have never expected that.
Yeah, great example.
You nailed it. Improvement. The reason he got an A for me, because he improved everything on his game for everything compared to last season. He's a number 1 with 5 assists, 5 with the most goal in NHL since February 10th. That's the reason he got 8. Yeah,
he's
more
number
goal
1
than that Hughes at 5 assists, 5.
He's number 1 5-on-5 with goals, right?
Yep. So
probably he hasn't been scoring on the power play because they don't let him. They double team him, and they leave Suzuki all his goals on the power play.
Number 26, Jeff Petrie. No. It's Jonathan Kovacevic. He's 19 game. Jeez, I always start with the goal at the beginning. 19 game, 0 goal, 2 assists, 2 points. Plus 5 is a number 1 with a plus and for the team. So Nick, whatever. If you don't mind, and not because I don't love your comments, it's already great. We are only it's the half of this, and then we are only at 45 minutes. So.
Okay. All I'm going to say about Kovacevic is that I'm going to give him a solid B- because he's been solid defensively. His offensive game's not going to be there. We know that. And, he's a solid third-pairing defenseman.
Here we go.
Oh,
D.
D.
He gave him a D.
Whoa.
What the?
I know.
Whoa.
Wow.
And after that, I don't know what he think about that one, but we'll be curious to know about him next
Yeah.
time we're going to see him, Marco.
Yeah, we're gonna have to grill him on that one. Like, did he sleep with his wife, or I don't know what happened there, but
Jesus.
okay. Well, listen, everything Nick said, like, just really solid. His underlying numbers, especially when he was playing with Harris, just incredible. So yeah, I don't know what's not to like. Like, hopefully, we expect he's going to be the next Kulak. Is kind of what I'm hoping this guy is going to be, right? Like, so no, very pleasant surprise. We really needed a right-handed shot to come in and solidify things a little bit. So really nice surprise, and I'm happy to agree with Nick on this one.
Absolutely right. I think his only bad game is against Winnipeg Jets. Again, X-Team, if I can
Why'd you
recall it.
grade him
That was
below?
a big game. So,
Why'd
man,
you only give
6
him
plus the
below?
guys is exactly like you. I'm really impressed. It's funny you talk about Brett Kulak. I think Kulak was better skater, puck mover better. It remind me, I may be wrong here, but Greg Ludwig. I know you're young, you guys, but
I remember Greg. Yeah, I think he's a much better skater than who he reminds me of. Actually, is Craig Popovich.
yeah, that's similar that one over there. Popovich was it was
Peter. You mean Peter
strength with his
Popovich?
skating, but
You said Greg, by the way.
the leg of Popovich was very funny. But anyhow,
As long as
let's
it's
move
not
on.
wrong,
Explore. I love this one there, Popovich. Here we
as
go.
long as it's not
Chris
wrong.
Dvorak, guys, 21 game, 4 goals, 5 assists, 9 points, and -1 for him for the Dvorak at the center.
C plus. I'm giving him a C plus, and it might be a little nice. He had one really good offensive game or period, kind of, and that's it.
Yeah, maybe I regret C. Like, probably C plus is fair because he does a lot of important things for the team.
Yeah.
Very subtle, and it's not like I don't recognize that. So in retrospect, probably a C plus would be a little bit more fair. I don't know if I go as high as a B minus, but listen, like, not like it's Dvorak. He's being Dvorak. He's meeting all the
Dvorak.
expectations that you have. He's on pace for 40 points, 55% on the face-off, killing penalties. He's not getting as much with Monahan. He's not getting that power play time as much. Like, so yeah, like, listen, nice start to the season for him.
I think C plus, and it's a C plus that you want him to be a C plus. That's the type of grade that you want.
All you need him to be. Yeah, that's all you need him to be.
I tell you right, Marco, the details of the game that's make me make a B minus over this. And second thing, it's not easy when you have another winger beside you all the time. You don't got to go with him, but how many winger go with him like that enough? Hoffman, Anderson, and Sapkowski was there recently. Armia was. It's just not easy. The chemistry is not easy for them. For Monahan and Dvorak, I think that's the reason they don't have enough points. Sometimes they should have a little bit more points. But great comment for both of you about Christian Dvorak. The next one, guys, is Joel Armia. Play only 10 game with, again, other injury. This is a blank. 0-0-0-0 -3 for Joel Armia.
D plus, C minus, D plus. I'll give him a D plus. Like, I thought he should have a little bit of offense, but he's had like not much offense at all. But at the same time, he's still good defensively. The forecheck is there. It's always going to be there, and that's what he is. But like, I would like to see a little bit of offense, especially as he's on the third line. And Slavkovsky's been, you know what I mean? Slavkovsky could put that up there, and that's what I'm thinking. Like, that's why I want Slavkovsky on that line with Monahan and Anderson, just because I think he would be better on a fourth line of a more shutdown role.
Marco, we're all D.
Well, yeah, but see, the thing is I put him as a D, but I thought that we were going E and F as well too. So I had players lower than him. So based on the fact that I can't go all the way to F as a fail, I don't think he's a fail. So I kind of agree with Nick. I'd probably do a D plus because he does bring. It's not like other players that we're going to see that I have as a D where they're bringing nothing. He's not. He hasn't had any production yet. But he kills penalties. He's he's our Mia, like he does. He munches minutes, kind of keeps possession down there. So he's bringing something, that he's not Weidman, right? Like he is bringing some value to the team. So I wouldn't have him all the way down to a D, maybe a D plus.
Just
Yeah.
expectation did not reach what I was expect for him. Honestly, for me, is a 4 line. That's what he is. He's only a 4 line. You have to be better players if you want to put top 9. He's not a top 9. Inconsistency. Great point. We talk about he does the details of the game, right? But it's a guy who never score like 20 goals per year because he's not have that kind. For me, he's not mean. And I think sometimes you need some meanness about him, like to be mean, like upset, right? He's never upset. Like, all right, let's go. I'll go bench now. Oh, I go on the ice. Life is great for him all the time on the ice.
You should play for the Leafs. He'd be perfect for the Leafs. He would fit in perfect.
Really nice trade him for.
Yeah, absolutely about this guy. Great comments about this. Joel Edmondson played only 11 games, another with started season with injuries. 1-1-2 scored last goal this week. His first goal this week. -5 for Joel Edmondson. Here we go, Nick.
I'm gonna go C plus. It might be a little nice. I don't know, but he is getting a bit better. I find he is getting a bit better, but it started off pretty rough.
So right about this, Marco.
I think it started off well. Like his first game and a half was really good.
Yeah,
but again, very.
Then it
small
went down, and then it went back. It's going back up again. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
The first game was good, then it fell off, and then it's coming back up.
Yeah, so very small sample size. They had him playing on the right, different partner. So I expect it will be fine. It's a known commodity, right? Like I'm not worried about him at all. And a huge question is he expendable now because of Gouli and Harris and Jacky, right? So we hope that totally expendable. I think Matheson can maybe not be as strong of a leader as he would be, but you still have Sabov and you still have Matheson. So interesting question there, but good. He's okay.
Jordan Harris, another rookie for the Montreal Canadiens. 18 game. Jesus, 1 goal, 4 assists, 5 point +1.
I'm gonna give him a B minus. He looked pretty good. He's been solid for the most part. But as soon as Matheson came in, he kind of lost his role a little bit, and he obviously didn't work with Weidman. I don't think anyone works with Weidman. He's definitely the worst defenseman on the team. Weidman.
Yeah. I think if you would have asked me this, 12 or 13 games into the season, I'd have him as a B plus. But on his overall play, I think just his last 4 or 5 games, I think he struggled a little bit.
Marak just score. I don't know yet. But look like the score.
Wow, that's huge. Belgium is not having a good World Cup so far. So I think overall, it was happening. Even it's not just because they separated him from Kovacevic, because I think he was struggling even the last 2 or 3 games where he was playing with Kovacevic.
Yeah.
But overall, he's +1. That says something with all the other players that are in the minus. So I like his game, but I question in the long term, with Hudson coming and everything else, where's this guy gonna fit? I don't know.
I always saw him as a right-handed. I thought he was the one that was going to go on the right side. I always thought that he was supposed to be the guy to do that, and it just hasn't happened, which is shocking because that's what he did in college. He played on the right side. So to me, it's shocking that it hasn't worked. So maybe he will lose his spot.
Yeah.
Next one, Michael Peseda will be quick on that one over there. Of course, 8 game only, 0-0-0, -2.
D minus. He doesn't fit in the NHL anymore. He tries, but I'm sorry, the guy doesn't fit anymore in the NHL. You have Jacky now, and it just
similar to Weidman, right? He has 2 jobs, which is, I guess, fighting. He's not really good at that, and the second job is bringing energy and hitting. And I don't know what it is. Like, I don't know if he just was afraid to take bad penalties or something, but I just don't find that he's as energetic and bringing the same kind of energy that he did last year.
Great comments about him. Nothing to go further. David Savard, the veteran, played 21 games so far. 1 goal, 7 assists, 8 points, exactly like Caden Cooley, by the way, and -2.
Wow, they were playing well together before, and they have the same numbers. That's pretty cool. But I'm gonna give him a B-, only because I gave C+ to Joel Edmondson, and I think he's better. I think he's been better than Joel. No,
Okay,
I think Savard has been better. Definitely. Savard is blocking shots. He's doing all the stuff. He's probably the best defenseman on the penalty kill overall. He's the real leader of the defense right now, I would say, in terms of the veterans.
Yeah,
Marko?
I'm totally fine with B+ here too. Like just a valiant. The word I would use is valiant effort from Savard so far this year, right? Like just a really thankless role that he's playing, and just really being solid back there for the most part. The only thing sometimes is, they do get stuck in their zone a lot. They get caved in pretty good on some occasions, that pair. But listen, like he's playing above his pay grade, I think, and definitely doing an honest job of it. So really happy with the production we're getting with him and the value that he's bringing. But if he could,
I would call this like maybe what Gallagher bounce back year. I think he plays so much better this year compared for last year. He had a really tough year last season with Montreal Canadiens. He's more in shape. He hit more, or he skated a little bit better. He's more into the offensive. He's just on the wrong share, but he did a lot of big minutes for the Montreal Canadiens in the beginning of the season.
Let's not forget he won the cup, right? We had that whole HABS team that had a bit of a hangover.
Yeah, that's a good point too. That's a great point.
He was celebrating. He was actually doing all the celebrating after, so you can only imagine what he was doing.
That enough. 17 game, 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 points, -8. I'm laughing because someone put on my comments on my video said, "Can we trade back that enough to Weber?"
Sorry.
That's a good one.
Sorry, I'm laughing just because I know that this might be the lowest grade. Because we can't give an F. I can't give an F. I cannot give an F. Okay. lowest D-.
Yeah, lowest. Yeah. So this should be D-. I would do D-, the lowest possible grade.
Yeah, but lower than the other one, even.
I feel bad for him, honestly. You know what I mean? Like, he looked like, it's just feel bad for him. But we'll see what happens if he can respond, guys. Come back at later.
If it was the last 5 games, I'd give him a C+. He's actually been a bit better.
You're right.
So,
so like the last couple of games played better.
You are getting better, Evgeny. Just keep that up. You'll get up to a C+ maybe.
Mike Hoffman, 16 game, 5 goal, 3 assists, 8 point, +3, best player for Marko for the Montreal Canadiens.
Okay, for me, he's a C-. He's not the worst out there. He's inconsistent, terrible defense, but he can score.
B+ for Enertap. Wow. Yeah, I didn't know he was a Hoffman lover to that extent. I'm sure he'll. Let's remember that, guys. How much Enertap enjoys Mike Hoffman and is endorsing him as a hockey.
He hates Kovacevic.
Yeah. So if there's 2 takeaway from the report card is that Enertap loves Hoffman and hates Kovacevic. But I think you know how much I might be a bit biased, as everybody knows how I feel about his game. Remember we were talking about those missed coverages in the defensive zone. Even when he was playing well and he was on that run where he scored a couple goals, like that didn't go away. Like those things did not go away. I've said it before. If there was a sport called shoot puck past goalie on power play on right circle, he would be a perennial all-star at that game. But that's not the game that the Montreal Canadiens play every day. So,
yeah. Honestly, since he been able to scratch, he played a bit better for some reason. I think he played well with DeVarak and Gallagher since he's back that line. So we're going to see how he's going to do now. He's unfortunately hurt, but
Yeah.
we'll see what happens.
By play well, you
there.
mean he scored. By play well, you mean he scored.
Yeah, based on Gallagher shooting the puck off the goalies that he can jump on the rebound. That's pretty much what it is.
I think the best way is he executed. He executed. He didn't play well, but he executed.
Jake Evans, 21 game, 0 goal, 2 assists, 2 point, -2.
I'm gonna give him a C. I thought there'd be a little bit more offense in him, but there clearly isn't.
Whoa, D+. Who's gonna kill it? Who's doing our PKs there, coach and Intertap? Like the guy is still taking important face-off. Like again, looking at the value that he brings.
But you
to
have
the team,
Sean Monahan, you have Nick Zuski.
Yeah,
Christian Dvorak.
He's the first guy out there, though. He's the first option on PK, right?
Yeah, but I'm saying Dvorak isn't going to stick around for a long time. We're going to eventually trade him. Monahan isn't going to be around either. At the end of the day, Evans is still going to be that fourth-line center. And
I'm surprised you guys, he's not going to return with Montreal next season. You cannot keep a four-line player, guys, with 0 point, 0 goal. If you want, you cannot keep Pesada, Jake Evans. If you want to have a better team, you cannot go have a four-line like that. You need physical line. Look about New Jersey Devils, the Woods, the Bastion, the McLeod, 6'3", 6'4". They hit, and that's one of the best. If you want to play a good team, you cannot get Jake Evans anymore and Pesada.
He's got 2 years, right, at 1.4 or something like that. I don't think
that.
I that would be, to me, that would be a huge mistake, to be honest. Right now, like I think we definitely have some good depth coming along, but I would keep him at least for next year. And if they were to offer him up on the market, coach, there would be many teams lined up
that will take
him.
But next year, Marko will be interesting if Owen Beck can jump in, and then he will lose his job over there.
I know we're all thinking. I don't think Beck is going to be ready next year. Like,
I don't say if he make the team. I just said I don't say he will, but
maybe.
I mean, he could replace Evans, but that's the only reason why he would replace Evans is with a guy like Beck who can win faceoffs, who can be it, because that's Beck's. Remember, Beck is proving offenses here, but at the same time, he's still his defensive faceoff game is what he does best.
But you need whoever's going to be in that hole, and that is going to need to kill penalties, right? So whoever is going to be in that role, like again, we don't have a lot. Like once we lost PK, Lehkonen and those kinds of guys, like Byron is not there anymore. We need guys to play on PK. Martin Saint-Louis been.
But that's why Armia is still important.
Yeah, but it's too expensive for that role. Too expensive.
Yeah, and this guy isn't though. That's why I would go and keep Evans over Armia.
I don't get that, coach. Like he's just such a good value player with his number that I don't understand.
How can you keep a guy with 4 line with 0 goal?
Well, it's not. It's 20 games in. He'll get 8 goals. He'll get his 8 goals. 8 to 10
get 5.
Goals. He had 12 goals last year, right?
But what are you looking for your 4 line?
I think like 8 to 10 goals. 25 points.
Okay, but what you expect? A 4-checker line, or you want something to hit hard, to play hard, and they return that? Right now, they don't produce nothing. Pesada 0 goal. Armia 0 goal, and Jake Evans has 0 goal. Are you going to build a team around that team with 3 players like them with 0 goal?
I don't think Evans is I don't think Evans is the cause of that, of what you're describing.
No, he's not.
I think proven that.
And I say it's because of him. It's not so because of him. What I'm said is because what's coming with Montreal Canadiens and the future, what they have as a prospect, you have to open up spot. It's like someone told me but you cannot trade Anderson, you cannot trade Monahan, but you keep them. Who's going to play next season? We have no spot for no rookies again. So we have to open a spot if you want to bring those back and Mazar and everything like that.
There's going to be lots of spots open. I don't think this is the one.
Yeah, no, this is not the one.
An example, do you keep Philippe Mazar as a center next year, or you keep to Jake Evans?
Mazar is not going to play. Yeah, Mazar is not going to play in the NHL next year.
But no, my point is like
Beck might, but not Michard. Michard has no shot.
Yeah, 3 players, I believe they're not going to return for me. Well, 3 spots, they will be open up more. It would be Pesada, Amir, and Jake Evans could be in concern for next season for me.
Oh, but there's Dadanoff and there's Anderson and there's others too, right? Like there's
Drew
at
Lang.
least there's at least 4 open spots. I don't know why Evans would be near your top of list of guys to move out. He still brings a lot of value, especially at his number. I think that'd be nuts.
About how many hits he has this year?
I don't care about that.
But if you think about Maroon, Perry, Nick Paul last season, if you think about the New York Calendars, Kleberdak, Martin, and Zizikas, every team win. If you go with the Kings, you go to 4 line. They got with those kind the line you need at the bottom 4 and the bottom 6. If you don't have those kind of 4 checker, you're not going to win nowhere.
But Evans has had those kinds of, like, remember when he was playing with Armia and Stahl or with Perry, right? So he can be part of a unit that plays like that, but he's really good at face-offs. He can kill penalties. And you need that 4th line to be able to deliver and to be able to play on special teams as well. Yes, they have to bring energy. They have to be doing puck possession, eating up minutes and everything else, and some minimal production for sure. But even more importantly,
so I'll give you who is better center as a face-off, Christian Dvorak or Jake Evans?
I would say Dvorak.
Who is better center on the face-off, Sean Monahan or Jake Evans?
Okay, Sean Monahan's the best center on the team.
But that's
face-off
not.
But my point to you right now, I just said to you, do you have right now 2 better center as a face-off? He become only number 3. So what's the utility of Jake Evans inside that team compared to, because now he's the best face center, everything that he's not. On the number of the face-off, he's not number 1.
Because you want him to take defensive zone face-offs when possible so that you can have Monahan take off. Like, Monahan's not going to be there, right? So, yeah.
But on the ranking of face-off guys, he's not the top 50 and the face-off center on the face-off number. If he was the top 20, you have many Jake Evans in NHL you can get. With 6'3", 6 big guy can hit. Again, that one over there. Do you want Jake Evans? You would like to have Woods as a bastion, whatever, a center for New Jersey Devils, 6'3", 6'4".
Centers, they're wingers. Those guys are wingers.
Yeah, you just mentioned wingers, but like I can understand like a Brian Boyle is always good. Like Brian Boyle is old now, but like that's a good 4th line center. But like
name 3 centers that are 6'3", hit, have face-offs, kill penalties, good defensively, I think Evans has underrated offensive skills. Like, he's never going to be a 20-goal scorer, but he did have 12 goals last year. So I don't know why we're shitting all over Jake Evans.
Because maybe my point is, like, at some point he will lose his spot because what's coming behind. That's my point behind that.
Yeah, like he's not a cornerstone of the franchise. Like, he's got.
Yeah, that's my point. Like this, that was the point behind that. I say if one player, like a couple of players, can lose their spot, they are returning as a contract. It's like Armia, Pesada, and Evans. I believe they are candidates to lose their spot next season.
If they move Evans, I guarantee that there's going to be a lot of takers. I would be surprised that happens this year.
Get a good, and if they do, that you get a nice 3rd round pick at the deadline, 3rd or 2nd.
I didn't imagine that. I didn't think our most contested card was going to be Jake Evans, but that's good. Good little debate.
Albert Jakai, here we go.
This one should be.
I've loved his performance. Like, he's so much better than I ever imagined. He's not in the preseason. He just showed off that he was like a tough guy, had a little bit of skill, can move the puck, but his shot, he's got a deceptive wrist shot that makes it through. A lot of people have said he reminds them of like Sheldon Surrey. A little bit, but it's not really the slap shot though, and that's the thing. It's because it's not a slap shot; it's a wrist shot. That's the difference maker here. But yeah, it's a B+. This guy has done great, and I think that this guy needs to be a cornerstone on the bottom pair. I know it's weird to say a bottom pair, but like, yeah, the bottom pair. He's perfect for bottom pair. I don't know why he's on the power play though. I would put Cooley there instead.
Yeah, like. I could probably went with Intertap here, like with the B- too. Like, I debated between the two, but it's it's really just the inconsistency in his positioning. Really,
And his
I know
pace.
coach has kind of like talked about. I think his skating is NHL level. I think his toolkit physically is all there. I don't think there's that much more development to do in terms of his skating, his all that. It's really just like he's kind of like his own worst enemy. But I've seen that improve over the last 3, 4 games, like a little bit. I don't want him to be 100% conservative, but he needs to be able to kind of like understand play. Like, remember
Better
we used to talk
decision,
about
Marco.
PK? Yeah, like remember we used to talk about PK. You have to understand the clock, right? Like play the
Yeah, yeah,
game
yeah.
based on the time of the game. I think that's the kind of stuff Jack needs to learn a bit more. Like I think that example where he fought right after they scored a goal and
Yeah.
just
That
little
wasn't the
things like
best
that.
time.
Yeah. So
I think I want to
this,
move it down, my thing down to a B a little bit, because there are things he needs to work on, and
yeah.
you know,
But I think we're all very excited. This is what we say is found money, right? Like
yeah,
we watched. Anybody who watched him in the OHL last year was telling other Habs fans like this guy is coming up. But even those people who knew about Jack never would have envisioned that he was going
Yeah.
to have this
Above
impact this year.
expectation. He played above my expectation.
Oh yeah,
But
for sure.
what you just said, Marco, you're absolutely right. I think too many penalties, awareness is everything like that. The fight you just mentioned, I think for me is head work on the backwards crossover. Every time that he got beat because he doesn't use his body pushing. But this is all about rookie, right? It's not he gets it when I'm trying to explain to that part over there. It's just you need to work on that. And you're absolutely right, Nick. Third pairing is good fit for the Montreal Canadiens. I'm not sure if it's going to be maybe a good, like any other rookie, maybe go Laval for a couple of games, everything like that. It could be helping them if it's the case. Otherwise, he will stay play on the third pairing for Montreal. He will learn from this, and we'll see. But he's another one who is going to increasing his development progression with time with the Montreal Canadiens. He's going to learn. It's not like a big major problem he has. It's a little thing like I would say the same thing with Harris or Coley or Sapkowski. We just talk about Sapkowski. Same thing about him. Him is the other thing he needs to develop and get better.
Well, the only difference, and again, he's way older than Slavkovsky.
That's a good point about that one there. Yeah. That's a good
So
point
the
about
big,
this one
big
there.
difference with Jack is that he's able to play his game within the game, like Martin Saint-Louis right now. Slavkovsky hasn't done that. That's why I was pointing out. Like he hasn't brought his game yet to the game, but Jack has definitely done that. And
yeah.
Marak score 2-0.
Ooh,
It's
man,
already at plus 90 minutes, by the way. So
crazy.
Belgium is in trouble.
Kirby
It's really
Dak.
bad.
Kirby
Ooh, I
Doc,
love this.
I'm gonna go A minus. He's been great. Like I said, another thing where you cannot go above Nick Suzuki. He's the best playmaker on the team, whereas Nick Suzuki, I think, has the mix of Caulfield being the best scorer and playmaker. I think that this guy's the best playmaker, though. And that's why he complements. Yeah.
Plus, what did Doc do to you, man?
For me,
Yeah.
inconsistency the first 15 game or 13 game.
Come on.
It was
Okay,
inconsistency. His face-off is at 33%.
yeah, but he cannot play. Okay, here's the thing.
How many games he did not play well the first 13 game?
Okay, but he's
Maybe
not
2?
a center.
2 or 3?
Everyone calls him
I'm
a
sorry
center.
again?
He is not a
Maybe
center.
2 or 3 games he didn't play good.
On the first 13 game, how many games he did not play well?
In my eyes, maybe 2 or 3.
5, 6 of them, no engaged, no physical, no puck protection. He did not cover his man. He got cut on the defensive zone. Percentage of face-off, 33. He became better when he played as a winger for the Montreal Canadiens. When he played with Caulfield is his key. How many points he got? How many games he played well for the last 3 games with the first line?
I'm going to shock you here. Like, honestly, like if I took since he's been with Suzuki and Caulfield, I would argue that he's been almost as good as Suzuki on that line. Not in terms of like certain Suzuki, like obviously like he doesn't have the same vision as Suzuki does, but it's still very good. But to me, like I found him to be probably the most responsible of those 3. He's winning like really critical puck battles. Like the puck. Like the guy
And
is
it
an
Who
helps.
hockey
is the
player.
first F1 back checking? Who is
It's
it?
Doc. It's Doc.
Doc? No, it's Suzuki.
Doc.
No, a lot of
No,
times it's
Doc.
Doc.
When did
Doc
you see
beats them
F1 Doc and the defensive zone deep
Anytime.
in the zone?
Anytime.
Many
more
times.
often than Suzuki.
You
A little
see
bit more
Kirby
often
Dak
than
in the
Suzuki.
zone on the fourth checking? No.
Absolutely, for sure.
I
Nick,
see
you
it
agree with
a
that?
little. Yeah. He's there before Suzuki. It's because he's faster than Suzuki, and that's what also helps.
I
He's
not
also the
said he
fastest.
is not back checking. I just said who is the deep zone on the back checking
He's-
F1.
That's why I said
It's
that. That's why I put that
half the
forward. That
time
I
it's
think he's
Suzuki,
been
half the
almost
time
as
it's Doc. But they kind of
Agree.
split
But
it.
why is the cover last week the goal against the Buffalo Sabres if it was him? Once Suzuki and Coffee flip over, where it was Doc?
okay. Like I'm not saying he doesn't make mistakes, right? But I'm saying
No, but
consistently.
where it was, you just told me, guys, he was the first one all the time. He's coming down. Where
Not
was Doc
all
on
the
that
all
play?
Not
Not
all the
every
time, but a
single
lot of
play.
the time. A lot
Yeah.
of the time he is.
I not said not all the time. I just said to you, is not the F1 one back checking. You check the next 5 game right now. Tell me how many times is going to be the F1 on the back checking for Montreal Canadiens when they play that first line.
I agree. Like
Okay.
it should be an inch. Let's track that moving forward, Coach, to see
Yeah,
how
okay,
often
yeah.
Suzuki's going all the way down versus Doc. Because I think you'll be surprised when you see how frequently that is. But the point I was making is that. Sorry, go ahead, Nick.
I was gonna say I'll watch that this week. I'll watch the back checking this week just to see. I want to track, and I always feel like it's a 50-50 thing between Doc and Suzuki. Like it's pretty 50-50.
It's much closer. Yeah, he's definitely pitching in. So the point I was making is that he is like right up at that level. Like he's not just kind of benefiting from playing Caulfield and Suzuki. Like he's bringing an entirely different dimension to that line. So yeah, I think I'm very comfortable with my A- having him rated right at the same spot as Suzuki, because at this stage, if you since that line's been together, he's contributing as much value as Caulfield, even though it might not look like it because people look at the goals and look at the excitement factor. But Doc is really critical to that line, and hopefully it continues.
One thing I want to say
What happened with Montreal now? Do you keep him as a winger or a center?
That's the easiest question in the world. There's no debate. It's a winger. He's not a center. It's been 3.5 years. He still can't win a faceoff. I understand he's young, but no, he cannot be center. It hasn't improved. 33%, not good enough.
I think they're going to still try it. Like for now, there's like Hughes and Gordon have both been on record that they still see him as a center. So his day, he'll get another opportunity, but I don't think there's any rush to do it. The good news is that we know that if that doesn't work, then we know what does.
Sean Monahan, 21 game, 5-9, 14, 53.7 face-off.
A B plus. I'm gonna give him a B plus. He's been solid. He's been having to deal with different wingers, and yeah, he's still and he's producing more lately, actually, on his own even.
Yeah, like we both, I think all of us would agree, he was the standout player of last week, right? So this is trending up. Like let's not forget he hadn't played a lot of hockey last year, right? So this is really encouraging for as we know, November is kind of still a bit of a training camp for veteran players. So who knows? Like maybe there's even an extra gear that we haven't seen. Like let's not forget, like Monahan is a much better finisher than he's shown us so far. Like not only is he able to set up goals, and most of his goals have been kind of like rebound plays or broken plays, but Monahan is a guy who could finish and like beat a goalie from the outside. Like he's a former like almost 40 goal scorer, or like mid 30 goal scorer. So I think there's probably elements and probably even improvement that we can see in his game, to be honest, if he stays healthy. So this is really exciting in terms of building him up as an asset. The big question though is like, it's kind of playing chicken, right? Like, do you wait? Like, the closer the car comes, like you want to wait out the car, like you're going to be playing chicken with how long you wait to trade Sean Monahan, hope that he continues to build his value. And most importantly, he doesn't get injured.
Yeah, I think you can get a first for him at this, like, very soon.
Today?
If he continues.
Today?
Today, maybe
I don't know.
not, but in like 2 months' time, I think so. If it continues down this
Ben
road.
Chariot get a first round, Marco. Sean Mannion can get 2 first round.
Different pick, different draft year, though. People are a lot more hawkish with their first rounders this year.
But you can get first round in 2024, 2025.
Yeah, but
Actually, we
Hughes
got a
wants one in
first
this
rounder
draft.
for 2023. We got for Sherrod, we got one for this year. Actually,
I know. But I'm saying now that people know this draft even more, I'm saying at this trade deadline, I'm not saying there aren't going to be first round picks traded away, but it's not going to be as loosey goosey as last year. I don't think.
I think a team like Colorado, if they still have their pick, I'm not 100% sure, would do it. I mean,
I don't know if they do have
Colorado.
Colorado don't have anything anymore.
Okay,
Yeah, I
yeah,
don't
that's what I thought. But if they did, I'd be
your
like, they'd
point.
be the perfect.
So my question to you before we are past the time anyway, but why not another question? Do you sign him if he asks you below $5 million?
No.
No. 4
Under.
maybe. 4
No, even
maybe,
that.
but not
No.
even? Okay,
No.
I would say 4.
Do you
But
give him
he's gonna ask
4.5
for
for
more.
4 years?
No, not a chance.
All
No,
right.
because his injury history and stuff, it could hurt. It can backfire.
Jake Allen, we have here 670, 3.61, 0.891.
Yeah, that makes sense. C. He started off really well, just not cutting it anymore though. I'm not liking his game lately.
Yeah. What did I do for this one, Coach? Yeah, I think again, like it's a tough. He's just kind of like Savard, right? Like just not in the right chair. We're asking a lot of him. I'm a little concerned about that extension, to be honest. Like it's probably the one move that I haven't loved that much. They gave him a 2-year extension.
I think so, yeah. I liked it at the time just to be safe because I didn't think Montembeault would take that jump. But now seeing the way Montembeault's been playing.
But what were we trying to be safe about? What were we trying to secure?
Just to have a goalie to that wouldn't get blown out every night.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Like I actually said the same thing this summer too, right? Like you need something stable back there because you don't want the kids to play in a toxic losing environment. So, but he's not really doing that so far. Like he did at the beginning of the year. If he can just stay above like 9, I think it's psychologically that number is so much more easy to kind of justify, right? But yeah, it's kind of like a tale of 2 seasons for him so far. Like really nice start and then just tailed off recently. Maybe playing too many games.
All right, next one, Samuel Montembeault.
It might be a bit higher, but in my opinion, he only had 1 bad game, and I'm going to give him an A-. This guy's really showed up this season. Probably one of the most improved Habs.
Yeah.
You guys also did A-, so.
Yeah. And our top, Like,
but the only thing I would say in our top, and I was agree with him because I was debate, me too. He played with lower team and the bottom 5 team understanding with the most of the game he played, never played with a big team like they are on the playoff. That's the only thing I was concerned about Montembeault. Until he proved me he can play against Edmonton, Calgary, Saddles coming very soon, Florida, Tampa Bay, Colorado. But now we see, like at the beginning you said San Jose. No, send him against Calgary. If you want to prove to us he's a good goalie, don't give him San Jose game. Give him the Calgary next week. You have Edmonton next week. Give him 2 games next week. And get him maybe San Jose Tuesday and Edmonton next Saturday to see what he looks like.
Yeah, I'll give him Edmonton game. I'm not Calgary. I'll give him Edmonton. I'd rather give him Edmonton because that's against Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl to really see. I think that's a better idea. Yeah.
So
that's complete a report card. You don't believe it. We are done. We have 90 minutes over, honestly. So what we're going to do, guys, is just a quick report about the upcoming week for the Montreal Canadiens. So it'll be the good one about this week number 8, guys. And we have the next game. The next 3 games is going to be San Jose Sharks, Calgary, and Edmonton. What are your expectations for Montreal, Marko?
Well, Coach, I think last week I predicted they were going to go 0-3. So I think I'm going to stick with that for this week. Like I hope that they can continue the same progress in their overall game here, but these are going to be tough road games here. San Jose is playing pretty well. Calgary is going to be hungry to get some points and make up some ground, and Edmonton too, right? Like they're coming off a really, really big win against the Rangers, where they came back from a 3-goal deficit in the third period. So they're going to be revved up and full of confidence. So maybe some points available in San Jose, but don't underestimate San Jose. Like that barn is really hard to play in.
No, they're playing in Montreal. It's in Montreal. That game's here.
Oh, it is in Montreal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Then maybe we have some points on the board for San Jose.
Yeah. I was gonna say we're gonna get 1 point. 1 point this week.
We'll go with 1-2. But don't ask me which game they win. I'm concerned about Calgary, be honest with you, but that's a subject for another time for that team. So that's conclude, guys, our show today for the week number 12 for the hockey at BRUNCH. Great to having you aboard, Nick. We can wait to see you next month in December.
Yeah.
Anything you want to one more thing, anything you want to looking for this week, Marko, for the Montreal Canadiens? No, I think again, there is some heat, some conversation. Apparently, Hughes has been on the phone a lot, talking trade. So maybe we're going to see something. Edmonton is looking for a bottom 6 forward. So we'll keep an eye on that. But guys, thank you for joining Had Brunch this week. A lot of fun. Thanks. Please leave your comments below and let us know. Give us a report card. How are you liking HABS Brunch so far? Do you have any recommendations on how we can improve the show? We'd love to hear from you. Give us your report card of the show. And of course, tell us if you agreed or disagreed with our report card this week. Thank you very much for watching. Hit the like, subscribe, leave your comments. Nick, last word.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens this week with the first line. Again, I just want to see if they'll continue to dominate. See how they do against a team like McDavid. Will they be able to keep up with McDavid and Draisaitl?
Yeah, absolutely right. Montreal be on December 15 game, 4 at home, 11 on the way. They play only 4 teams are not in the playoff. 11 of teams are on the race for the playoff, or really close, or they are in the playoff. So it's looking really what it look like at the end of the month. Honestly, who they are, the Montreal Canadiens. So big man, guys, thanks so much again to join us this morning, and we wish you an amazing, great week, everybody. Go Canada.
Have a good week.